Gentlemen, the streets are buzzing. It's playoff time. New York Knicks Nation. We're here with a great guest, the legend. You know who he is. The
Yeah,
one,
fumble thumbs.
the only. Bill Daughtry, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man.
Always great to have you on. Talk Knicks, but man, the streets are really buzzing this time right now, Bill. And it's great to have you on to talk about what we've seen in this series and anything else you want to talk about. It could be photography, bowling,
Well,
golf.
no, wait. First things first. We are late because of me, not because of CT. And you talk about photography.
No.
I've been playing around with this webcam using an actual camera. This is a computer camera that we're using now because, I mean, we were going like bonkers trying to figure this thing out. And as it is with all digital stuff, it's one keystroke that fixes everything, and that's what fixed everything here. So I'm glad we're here, but don't blame this on CT. This is all my doing back here in the States.
Blame it on me. I'll be the villain of this situation. Just like the Cleveland Cavaliers are the villain right now. MSG, get ready. The chat's going to show up. A lot of questions, a lot of answers, hopefully tonight. But it's been a interesting series, the playoffs in general, Bill. But how are we doing, first and foremost?
You know me, man. Everything is good over here. We don't, we had a keystroke problem. That's about the only problem we're having. Otherwise, I got nothing to complain about. Life is good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, smooth sails. Hopefully for the rest of this series is also. But the New York Knicks, we're back here. We're back in the playoffs now. The matchup, we've been looking forward to this. We've seen 2 games in Cleveland. Stole game 1 through rebounding, through grittiness, toughness. Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson closed the deal. But then we saw an adjustment in game 2. What have you seen from the series?
It's interesting when you look at the numbers. There's not a lot of difference, but the big number is the performance of Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson in game 1 was outstanding. In case you forgot, he was 11 for 24 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, finished with 27 points, and only had 2 assists in that game. The assist leader for the Knicks in game 1 was RJ Barrett. More on him in a second. But what Cleveland did in game 2, because the Knicks came out and pretty much acted like they could deploy the same strategy. But what happened was Bickerstaff said, no. We're going to crowd Jalen Brunson. We're going to double Jalen Brunson. We're going to trap him. We're going to blitz him. And it worked because in game 2, it was a very different Jalen Brunson. Cleveland cut off the snake with the head, cut off the head of the snake, and that just made everything go sideways for the New York Knicks. Brunson was 5 for 17 from the field, and Brunson likes to get into that paint. One of my good friends calls that area between the free throw line and the top of the restricted area, the arc of the restricted area. That's Brunsonville. That's where Jalen likes to go and operate. But Cleveland made sure that he could not get there unless he had a lot of company with him. And so what ultimately happened was Jalen Brunson turned into a three-point shooter. Not his strong point. Jalen Brunson in game 1, talk about three-point shooting. We said he was 1 for 4 in game 2 because he couldn't get access to Brunsonville. Jalen Brunson was 1 for 8 from downtown.
Oh.
So Cleveland, essentially, as we said, they cut off the head of the snake. If Jalen Brunson gets into the paint, if he gets to Brunsonville, the ball can dish, he can move it, he can score it, he can do all kinds of things down there that he wasn't able to do in game 2. And I mean, it's a small thing, but Jalen, the overall leader, well, the bench leader, Josh Hart. Remember, he was doubtful for this game with that ankle that he sprained in game 1. Well, Josh Hart, game 1 stats, 8 for 11 from the field, had 10 rebounds, finished with 17 points, and was just a pain in the neck defensively. He had 1 steal, caused some other turnovers. Well, look at the numbers for Josh Hart in game 2. By the way, Josh played 30. We'll round it off. He played 33 minutes in game 1. Well, Josh Hart played 27 minutes in game two, not nearly as productive, only 2 for 3 from the field. He only shot 3 times. He had 4 rebounds. Josh Hart, I'll say it again, had 4 rebounds for the New York Knicks. In game one, Josh Hart played to a plus 17. In
Mm.
game two, I hope you're sitting down, Josh Hart played to a minus 29.
Oh,
So this game came down to the leaders of the two units, and it came down to the second quarter. Cleveland didn't do a lot different this
yep.
game. They did one thing that was very different, aside from the way they attacked Brunson defensively. Offensively, JB Bickerstaff made one change. If you were watching game two, you saw Isaac Okoro play all of 2 minutes and 45 seconds. He took
Break it.
fouls. You didn't see him for the rest of the night. In game one, Isaac Okoro played 22 minutes. So who do you think got those 20 minutes that Isaac Okoro didn't get in game two? Well, what do you know?
Long Island.
The former net, Karis LeVert. He played
Mm.
he played 18 minutes in game one. He played 39 minutes in game two and was a tremendous factor off the bench with 24 points. Yeah, I get it. Of course, there was the performance of Darius Garland, and really Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, they just changed roles in games 1 and 2. I think there was a
Yep.
5-point difference total.
Exactly.
They scored in the 2 games, but in game 2, Donovan Mitchell said him to be the facilitator. He had 13 assists. It's a playoff high for him. He had 13 assists, and it was Darius Garland who went bonkers with 32 points in game 2. And I'll give you a couple of more small things that made a big difference. Cavaliers won by 17 points. They won the game in the second quarter, where they outscored the Knicks 34-17.
Mm. Facts.
I mean, it happened in small places in big ways. And we talked about the way the Cavaliers defense attacked Jalen Brunson in game 2. Well, when they come at Brunson like that, somebody has to step up and be that three-point shooter. Knicks didn't have one. They did not have one. They have one on their bench. It's going to be interesting to see if Tom Thibodeau makes that adjustment in game 3 at Madison Square Garden. But a big part of the Knicks' problem is RJ Barrett. RJ in the 2 games is 6 for 25 from the field. He's 1 for 8 from 3. RJ Barrett, just like Julius Randle, just like Jalen Brunson, they play bully ball. All 3 of them. They play bully ball. Well, you saw the Cavaliers take Brunson out of his bully ball element, allowed him not to get into Brunsonville, not with any frequency. Julius is going to be Julius. And it's amazing that his numbers from game 1 and game 2, they're almost identical. They really are. Julius Randle in game 2 was 8 for 20 from the field in 33 minutes. He had 8 rebounds. He played to a -7. He finished with 22 points. In game 1, Julius Randle played 33 minutes, was 7 for 20 from the field, 1 less field goal. He had he finished -8 with 19 points, 10 rebounds, and the biggest rebound of the game in game 1. So Julius Randle, there wasn't a big drop-off in his performance. No, not at all. Julius was Julius. He did what he normally does in that game, but the problems were, again, they locked Jalen Brunson down as much as you can lock him down from a standpoint of getting to his spots on the floor. RJ Barrett gave him nothing from 3. And when you lock Brunson down like that, somebody has to step up and shoot the 3. Well, here's the Knicks from 3 in game 2. RJ was 0 for 3. Quentin Grimes was 2 for 4. Jalen Brunson, we already talked about, 1 for 8. Obi, 1 for 4. His performance in game two almost identical to what he did in game one. Isaiah Hartenstein, not a three-point shooter, so we won't bother him. Emmanuel Quickley, he was actually a little bit better in game two than he was in game one. Quickley was 0 for 2 from downtown in game one. In game two, he was 1 for 4. That's nothing to write home to mom about. But remember, on the road, Quickley ain't the same player that he is at home, except for a game in Dallas and a game in Boston that he played very well and injected him into the six-man conversation, six-man of the year award conversation. Aside
Yeah.
from that, he's a different player on the road. He's not that guy away from Madison Square Garden. So a little home cooking, and who's going to be the Knicks' secret weapon from three if Quickley and Grimes aren't enough at home? Who's that guy going to be? Well, I'll offer this one for you. How about somebody who did not play in games 1 and 2, DMP, coach's decision, but is arguably the best three-point shooter on the team. He holds the single season record for three-pointers made, Evan Fournier. He could be the Knicks' secret weapon in game three. Now, think about this for a second. Bickerstaff in game one, he played basically 7 guys. 7 guys had minutes in double digits in game one, okay?
Yeah, they'll be
In
gassed.
game two, that increased by 1. You saw Danny Green, you saw LeVert step in and get virtually all of Isaac Okoro's minutes. And boy, what a performance he had in game two. Not sure that the Cleveland Cavaliers can count on him doing that 2 more times in this series. He might have another game. He might go bananas at the Garden. He's played there before as a Brooklyn Net. So, it's not going to scare him. It's not going to scare Allen. Donovan Mitchell is fearless. I mean, you talk about Garland. He was an all-star, for goodness sakes. So, yeah, we're coming home. We're going to handle our business. No, that's not in play here. You have to come up with some real adjustments, some real solutions to what was done to Jalen Brunson in game two.
I mean, you said a mouthful, and I agree. Obviously, adjustments is key, and Cleveland credited them. I always like to give credit, Bill. Teams make adjustments. It worked, and I said it actually after game one. I said we'll probably see some Danny Green, but I didn't expect that soon. Danny Green replaced a lot of Okoro, Dean Wade, Ricky Rubio. He cut the cord. Bickerstaff knew how ineffective Rubio, Wade, and Okoro were. And Danny Green came on, gave him solid minutes. Karis LeVert had the game of his life, 39 minutes. But I don't think the Knicks were ready for the trap. Jalen Brunson getting trapped so soon, there didn't seem to be anyone else coming to the ball to get that ball. And then the shooting, like you said.
I like the picture that the guys were painting last night on TNT. Talking about Kenny Smith, talking about Charles Barkley, talking about Shaquille O'Neal. And I think it was Kenny who really brought it out. He says, look, Cavaliers lost game one. They were at home for 2 days. They had 2 days to think about this. They had 2 days to practice and polish up their act and make adjustments, while the Knicks, they were pretty much, in a different mindset on the road, hotel room, gym, hotel room. Not, so the Knicks were like mentally stagnant for a couple of days while the Cavaliers were trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this? And Bickerstaff went into the laboratory and came out as the nutty professor with some help from his great assistants. And all of a sudden, it's a series. It's a series. It's the 4-5. Both 4-5 series are tied. And last night, not to get away from the Knicks for a second, but last night in the early going, it looked like the LA Clippers were about to go up 2-0 on Phoenix. Then all of a sudden, they tied it at the half, wiping out a double-digit deficit. And then in the second half, they just took the game over. So these both these 4-5 series, they're playing out as you might expect 4-5s to play out.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is what I expected coming in. And I know a lot of fans got excited, as they should have, for game one. That night was great.
Oh,
Um,
spectacular.
this is what we're in the playoffs for. To win game one on the road was sensational. And I said at that time could have arguably won the Knicks the series if we end up getting it done. Winning that game one may end up being the difference. It was the filling out game, but we stole it. But coming back home now, we're going to see a lot of different things. We're going to see the crowd. We're going to see the role players hopefully feel more comfortable. We're going to see maybe Tom Thibodeau game to game adjustment because he hasn't made adjustments in game, I feel. And what do you feel about the 2 day break, Bill, which is another good thing for Josh Hart ankle, Julius Randle health? I think the Knicks' strength coming in was our depth. And I think if they want to continue to play Karis LeVert 39 minutes, 7-8 man rotation, I think as the longer the series goes, the Knicks still could have that edge because we still haven't seen a good game from Grimes. We haven't seen anything resembling RJ Barrett. We haven't seen Emmanuel Quickley, 6 man of the year. He's missing right now. We might see Deuce McBride, Evan Fournier, like you said. I think the Knicks can go further down the production line, further than Cleveland can. And if they want to cut the cord on Dean Wade, Ricky Rubio, and that, I think it's going to be tiring for Cleveland, especially when we're going to get physical at MSG.
One of my takeaways from last night's game was when Mitchell Robinson was in there, Cleveland was intimidated. Their shooters were intimidated. They didn't want to come down into Mitchell Robinson's territory. They did not.
Yep.
And as things worked out, Mitchell Robinson only played 21 minutes last night. They needed the offense of Hartenstein, the ball movement, and the ability to put up an outside shot. They needed that involvement from Hartenstein, although, I mean, it didn't pay off in a big way. He finished off -7 for the night with 4 points. But still in all, and you saw it in game one, the Knicks were the physical, dominant team. Now, you give Cleveland all the credit in the world because they clapped back. They clapped back in a big way last night.
Big time.
And, again, there were small things, but the big thing was they said, okay, number 11 is not going to beat us. If the Knicks beat us, they're going to have to do it from beyond the arc because they were crowding and blitzing and doing everything they possibly could to disrupt the rhythm that they get from Jalen Brunson. And again, the 3 big players on the Knicks all play the same offensive game. Brunson, Randle, Barrett, bully ball. Well, Cleveland's got 2 7-footers down there who had collectively a great game last night. Mobley and Allen finished with a total of 24 points, 23 rebounds, and 5 block shots last night. Wow. So they weren't having it on the interior. The Knicks were, and here's the thing that we were talking about before. RJ Barrett, that's his game. That's where he excels. I've said it time and again. He's a mismatch against anybody that he takes on one-on-one. But here is the situation here in Milwaukee. The only times that he's really going to run into 2 7-footers in the low box on defense. You can't play bully ball down there. Come on in. Yeah, come on. If you want to make those guys move, you have to be able to shoot the ball from 3. And by the way, in game 1, the Knicks were 8 for 29 from 3. Care to guess what they were from 3 in game 2? 7 for 29. So again, small things in this second game. The Knicks competed for 3 quarters. They got beat in the second quarter of this game. They lost that second quarter 34-17. What was the final score? 107-90. That's 17 points all around the world. That's where that game was lost, in the second quarter. So it's not like the Knicks ship is taking on water. No. They had a little engine failure, and they got to crank it back up when they get home to Madison Square Garden. But do not, if you are a Knicks fan, don't go to that game thinking that you're going to intimidate the Cavaliers out of Madison Square Garden. That's not happening. It's not happening. Danny Green has been on championship teams. How intimidated is he going to be? I mean, if we start from the bottom up on this Cleveland roster, how intimidated is Danny Green going to be? How intimidated is Karis LeVert, who played for the Brooklyn Nets, and Jarrett Allen, who also played for the Brooklyn Nets? They know that building. They've been in there when the temperature's been turned up before. How intimidated are they going to be? You got Garland and Mitchell, two bona fide all-stars in the backcourt. How intimidated are they? I don't care how loud it gets. You're going to have to physically punish these guys, and I'm not sure if the Knicks are going to be able to do that.
At the end of the day, the crowd's one factor, but the play on the court has to match the energy, and I'm confident it will. You broke it down nicely, Bill. The games are split 1-1, but how many quarters out of the 8 quarters have the Knicks won? So we could still say
I can tell you that both nights they lost the second quarter. They lost the fourth quarter in game 1, but they won the fourth quarter last night, which was garbage time, which we'll get into that in a second too. It's been an even series. The Knicks lost the first quarter in game 2 by 3 points, in the third quarter by 2 points. They won the fourth quarter. Like I said, that second quarter is the one that got them. That's the one that got them in game 2.
Let go of the rope, really. The adjustment, the crowd. And it's back and forth, We weren't ready for that smack in the mouth after winning game 1. Do you feel like there was any complacency? A lot of Knicks fans are saying they felt the Knicks came in feeling a bit more comfortable than maybe being down 1-0.
I'll go for the comfortable. They came in thinking they were going to see the same Cleveland team. And like I said, early on, Mitchell Robinson was an intimidating presence in that low post. Defensively, Mitchell wound up with, I think he had 0 blocks. Yeah, he had 4 block shots in game 2. And most of those were early because, again, he only played 21 minutes. So Cleveland wanted nothing to do with Mitchell Robinson. If you're physical with Cleveland, you've got to, and I don't mean be stupid about it, but again, the Knicks game is bully ball. And when the big three are working and guys can hit shots from the perimeter, that's when they're most dangerous. Because defensively, they're going to compete with anybody on any given night. I was texting with somebody back and forth, NBA personnel, somebody who's in the know, and we're looking at this game. We're both saying, this is a sloppy game. It was. Yeah. Nobody could take care of the basketball. And
abound.
And you have to give credit to both those defenses for making that happen. But where the worm turned in that second quarter was Garland went bananas. He scored 15 points in the second quarter. And that's where this basketball game turned. Once the Knicks got in that hole and Cleveland turned up the defensive pressure on Brunson, the Knicks really didn't have a second outlet to score points. They didn't. Their bench wasn't there last night because the leader of their bench unit, Josh Hart, and some people were questioning should he even played the game. But he did. I mean, once you suit up, you're in it. No matter what happens, you're in. And Josh Hart had a bad game last night. I don't think you'll ever see him at any point on any box score in any team, maybe in his career, minus 29.
Yeah, you could go either way, but I'm cool with Hart suiting up. It's the playoffs, and if he can give us that, if he can give us what he gave us in game 1, why not? Go. It's hindsight now. We lost the game, and he was a minus, but I like to give the opponents more credit for turning up the heat. They did what they had to do, really. They matched the series. If the Knicks were down 1-0 after 1, we would have done the same thing. We would have turned up the heat. Now it's our turn to turn up the heat. And what do the Knicks have in their arsenal? What can we do? Will we even see the same kind of Cavaliers? They didn't. They shot 42% from 3, Bill.
One of the things that we always have to be mindful of is that on the road, your bench guys ain't going to play the way they play at home. Karis LeVert's not going to do that at Madison Square Garden. I'm not going to say he's not going to do it again, but he's not going to do that in the next 2 games. I can pretty much guarantee that. Now, the thing flips, whereas both Quickley and Grimes. Now, both of those guys who did not play well in Cleveland, even though Quickley was a little bit better in game 2, they're going to be sensational at home. They'll be double-digit scorers
Hopefully.
at home. Now, is that going to be enough? Because Cleveland's going to try and come out with the same strategy again, because it worked wonderfully in game 2. And the only thing that's stopping it really is what are the refs going to do? What are the refs going to say? How are the refs going to call this game? That's going to be a determining factor. But the Knicks are at home. They should be able to cook. Their bench is going to be a lot better. Plus, they're coming off of a bad game. They're coming off of a bad game collectively. The Knicks bench got outscored last night. And coming into this series, and this is no knock on Madison Square Garden. I don't work there anymore, and I have no affiliation there. But whenever the Knicks are on network television, I'll watch the network broadcast as opposed to the Madison Square Garden broadcast, because I know what Madison Square Garden is going to say. I know where they're going to come from. I want the real, undistilled, what's going on in front of me from a network broadcaster. And you got that last night big time in the fourth quarter. When the Knicks were down, I think there was like 7 minutes left in the game. And the person that I'm texting with is like, you calling off the dogs now? Or are you going to try and make one more run? And I'm saying to myself, they're going to try and make one more run. And so what do you know? They come out, they're unsuccessful with the run, and then Julius Randle gets knocked to the floor with 2 minutes to play. And everybody's saying, this game is a 20-point blowout with 2 minutes to go. Why is Randle on the floor? And it goes back to what we were saying about Josh Hart. And Thibodeau, he basically confirmed it. He said, I wanted to take him out, but he wanted to stay in for his rhythm. Okay, I get it. But right after that play happened, where he and Jared Allen collide at the basket, when Julius is going in for a dunk. So I thought it was kind of weak for Julius to say post-game, well, he didn't have to go that hard. Dude, you were trying to dunk the ball. You were trying to dunk the ball in his building. You're out there. You're playing hard. Why should he not play as hard? Just because he's got a lead? No. That's not how this works. And they know that. So on the TNT broadcast, Reggie Miller dials it up. He says, I was doing that game that night in Philadelphia where the Bulls had a huge lead on the game was over, and Derrick Rose had no business being on the floor. And that's when he sustained that knee injury that changed his career. I mean, you ain't getting that on the MSG broadcast. You're not getting that over there. Reggie Miller went there. It's been something that we've talked about on various occasions. How many times have you watched a Knicks game and the Knicks have been up 15-20 with 2 minutes to go and Thibodeau still has the first string out there?
That's what he is. That's his identity.
Part of the guy.
Yep. I think there's a bit of arrogance from game one where this team feels like, they're going to go through them.
I don't even think it's arrogance. I mean, like there's 7 minutes left in the game. You're down 20. Really? You're really coming back? Put those other guys in there. This game is over. Cleveland had taken out Donovan Mitchell at that point. Mitchell played until it was about 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. I mean, what are we doing? But now here's the flip side of it. The last week or so of the NBA season, if you were watching games around the league, you were seeing lineups and players with playoff-bound teams that you knew absolutely nothing about because everybody was resting their guys.
Yep.
Tom Thibodeau wasn't doing that. Tom Thibodeau was playing his guys. He played them right on up through game 82. But they were ready when the bell rang for game 1 of the postseason. So it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword, but I don't think there's anybody out there that was watching that game last night with about 7 minutes to play who thought the Knicks genuinely had a chance at coming back and taking the game.
Yeah, you got to approach it like it's a series, you know. I know there was frustration from the players not shooting well, wanting to stay in and yeah, at least get some feel good rhythm closing the game. But the game was done. Wrap it up. Get ready for game three. That's all, that's what needed to be done. What any rational, sensible person would have done. Even if the player wanted to stay in, you're the coach. Pull rank, and the rest is history. We're thankful Julius didn't get any serious injury. But to your point, you're 100% on point, Bill, about the dunk. You know, you're still playing hard. The other team's still playing hard. It's
I'm su-
starters, these
I'm supposed to
starters.
watch you throw down. I'm supposed to get posterized. I don't think
Yeah,
so. I don't think
yeah.
so.
It was a flagrant one, and it was dealt with. But Julius didn't seem too aggravated either. You know, he brushed it off, and he's like, "We'll see him game three," and that we will, that
Yeah,
we will, and
yeah.
we'll be doing the same thing. We'll be playing hard. Uh, if we were up 20 and the starters were still out there, we wouldn't be letting dudes dunk on us. Um, but with that said, you know, there's physicality is getting rammed up. Do you expect game three to be called tighter?
I think that the officials and we have no idea who it's going to be because these crews change from game to game. As
Mm,
a matter of fact, there was one official that was on the crew for games 1 and 2, and I believe that would be the alternate Natalie Sago. She's the only name in the referee lineup in the box scores that is the same from game one. The
okay,
other three people were different
different.
in games
Right.
1 and 2. So I have no idea who's going to do game three. Nobody does. Only the
Yeah.
league knows that kind of stuff, and rightly so. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I expect that the game will be tightly officiated, both ways, both ways. And
Yeah.
and what I think that means, especially for Cleveland, is there's certain stuff that you just, and I mean it's a fact of NBA life. There's just certain stuff you can't get away with on the road that you get away with at home. It's just the way that
Yeah.
that's the nature of the beast. It's how they call the game. It's how they call the game. So
Facts.
it'll be interesting to see. I don't think the referees are going to be a factor,
Mm.
though. I think that, hey, they're going to go out and play and they're going to call what they see.
Yeah. I mean, we saw Brunson get in early foul trouble game one, Okoro in game two. I think there's always going to be somebody getting foul trouble early, but the egregious stuff like Brunson getting smacked in the face, smacked in the mouth, Grimes getting smacked in the mouth. I think we will
Yeah.
get those whistles at MSG. The crowd
Grimes,
is going to let.
Grimes is bleeding.
Yeah, he knows what playoff ball now is, right, Bill?
Yeah.
He's tasted blood, so he knows what it is like to be a New York Knick, play in the playoffs, and
I'm kind of stealing here because I'm reading some of the
yeah,
comments
have at it.
that some of the Bonson at double
Yeah,
oh 009, he disagrees with me. If the broadcast is on MSG, I'm watching MSG. Too much Nick hate on ESPN. First of all,
mm,
last night's game was on TNT, and the Knicks actually won on ESPN, and they were glowing about the performance of the New York Knicks on ESPN. It's look,
mm,
here's what you have to understand. And Walt Clyde Frazier, I've counted him as a friend since I was 15 years old. And Clyde tells it like it is. He
he
does.
does. Yeah,
You
he
know,
got on RJ.
Mike Breen tells it like it is. But take it from someone who worked there for 20 years. There are certain restrictions, certain rules that you have to obey. I'll
Yeah,
put it. And I
we
when I
know.
was when when I was texting with the person last night when I was watching the game, I said, "No, I know those scripts that they have to read. I've read a few
Yeah,
of them. There's just certain areas you're not going to hear on the Nick broadcast what Reggie Miller had to say last night. You're not going to hear that.
yeah.
You are not going to hear that. Plain and simple.
And Anthony 212 says agrees with your point earlier. I would like to see Evan Fournier over RJ if we continue to get duds from RJ. I would like Deuce McBride. I think he's deserved minutes all throughout the season. He's been Mr. Reliable, and he helped change our season. Remember when before the Knicks 9-game winning streak, I would like to give Deuce McBride a lot of credit because he changed the intensity. He made the opposing guards get honest and make sure they know he's there. And I think he's a big part of our defense at MSG and holding maybe the Cleveland Cavaliers to under 95, 100 points. We can win both games.
CT, I'm only going to disagree with you in one area. Again, last night, Knicks couldn't shoot the ball from three. Cleveland took the paint away from the Knicks. They had 6 fewer points in the paint in game two than they had in game one. And conversely, their second chance points, they were minus 10 compared to game one. So that's 16 points that they couldn't have, that they couldn't get to because of that painted area, while Cleveland was plus 7. So Deuce McBride is not going to be the guy who's going to get attention on the perimeter. He's just not. But if Cleveland sees Evan Fournier out there, they at least, based on his resume, have to respect what he can do until he shows you that he's not up to it. But by then, the Knicks, because of how you've adjusted to Fournier being on the floor, they'll get some points back down there in Brunsonville because of that.
Yeah, that I agree. He will pull the defense like a magnet, a bit more gravity than RJ Barrett can. I just think game 3 is a bit too soon to make that kind of adjustment. I think at MSG, we see how the game begins, Bill, but Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickley, those are the guys that 100% need to step up over RJ. If RJ can still get downhill at MSG, I feel we will get out in transition. The energy will be there. If we get a few stops, we get out. Julius running, but if Grimes and Quickley don't start shooting well, we're going to suffer. Our offense will suffer greatly because they will still try to trap Brunson.
And again, if they do, the Knicks have to come up with alternative offense. And like we said earlier in this conversation, I expect Quickley and I expect Grimes to have better games. I expect both of them to have better games the way that they are accustomed to playing, and that's shooting from three. Neither of them are great from three, but they are both effective from three. And if they knock down a couple of threes early, now Cleveland's got to start respecting that. Now Grimes can start cutting to the basket. Now Quickley can start taking guys off the bounce. Sometimes he bounces too much, but still in all, it opens things up. Cleveland shut down what the Knicks like to do in game 2. Shut it down. And the Knicks didn't have any recourse. They didn't have an alternative plan of attack. I mean, they did. They took just as many threes as they did in game 1, made one less. But here's the thing. As somebody pointed out in the chat, Cleveland shot 42% from three in game 2.
Yeah, that's way too good. But that's what I'm expecting or hoping us to shoot at home as well, because that's the pressure, that's the adjustment. But to be honest, Bill, I'm still confident because I'm putting last night's performance down to Cleveland's desperation. Whoever is down in a series is the most desperate team. And I felt the Knicks didn't give their best. Although Cleveland did shut down a lot of good things we do, I don't feel like we came into that game wanting it more than Cleveland did. You have to go in wanting it more.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's the old saw, well, you got to split on the road. Okay, they got to split. They achieved what they came for in game 1, but you got to be greedy. You got to get more than one.
Hungry, I say.
And they weren't greedy last night. Fortunately, they came out of it without any kind of injury. Anthony 212 says Evan is a sniper. And again, I'm not saying bench RJ. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is the Knicks need to get more out of his minutes. He's played
Oh,
about 31 minutes,
absolutely.
32 minutes in the two games
Yep.
combined. RJ has played what, 35 minutes, average of
Yep.
33 and 31. So he's played about 32 minutes in each game. 2 for
And
12 and 4 for 13 ain't cutting it. Not at playoff time. Not
and
unless
you're
you are playing hellacious defense, and we all know RJ Barrett has never played hellacious defense. Not
defense.
not game making, difference making defense. He's not that player. He's not that
Yep.
player. He's a bully baller who has to go through 2 7-footers if he beats the guys on the perimeter, which I don't think is a problem for him.
Yeah. And what you're saying is basically what Cleveland did, and the Knicks have not done yet, which is cut the cord on a few players, right? Make that adjustment. Game 2, they did not hesitate, and it wasn't just one player. It was Dean Wade, Ricky Rubio, Isaac Okoro got in foul trouble, but they did not hesitate to not bring him back.
Well,
What you got? What you got, Tom Thibodeau? Are you going to be that cutthroat and cut someone's minutes that's not producing? Are you going to call upon Derrick Rose, Fournier, someone? Are you going to be ruthless?
again, if there's somebody who can make a difference, I think that person would likely be Evan Fournier because the Knicks need to step up their 3-point game
Shooting.
against these 2 7-footers. It is due. It's a fact of life. Now, again, this ain't a panic move. I mean, was it a panic move when JB Bickerstaff decided, you know what, Isaac Okoro, sit down, and plays Karis LeVert 40 minutes in game 2? Is that a panic move? Karis LeVert played half as much in game 1. He played 18 minutes. But in game 2, and he didn't go berserk in any one quarter. He was just a guy making a couple of 3 shots every quarter throughout the game. And you look up, he's at 24 points. And he played to plus 23 last night. Now, does Tom Thibodeau make a move like that? Maybe he doesn't have to because, again, maybe at home, maybe in game 3, Emmanuel Quickley will play like he has played all year at Madison Square Garden. Quentin Grimes will hit a couple of early threes, and then he'll start cutting to the basket, and it will open things up on their offense. If those 2 things happen, hey, RJ Barrett can go out and play another 33 minutes and have another stinker offensively. He can do that because somebody else will be covering his bundle. Somebody else will get it done. And it's a team sport. No panic here. It's not a panic move. It's, are you going to do, if the situation calls for it, are you going to do something to help your team win? Isaac Okoro is a defensive monster for the Cleveland Cavaliers. 2 early fouls, and he did not see the hardwood again in game 2. Didn't see it.
Yep.
But LeVert cashed in those minutes big time. Big time.
It was an easier decision because it was the second quarter that they blew it out. So it's like, oh, we don't really need to bring Okoro back. We're swishing. We're hitting on all cylinders. And I think it's critical the Knicks get out to a good start. But to your point about Fournier possibly seeing minutes and why I could agree with you on that is because I think they're going to continue with their plan to get the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hand. And who else is going to beat them? How are we going to put up points if JB is always having to kick the ball away, and if RJ's bricking it, if Grimes ain't hitting, who else is going to score? They're going to be all over Julius like a rash. And
again, small things. Let Quentin Grimes knock down a 3-pointer the first time he touches the ball. Let him knock it down. Maybe he does it 2 of the first 3 times he touches the ball. All of a sudden now, Cleveland's got to pay attention to this guy on the perimeter.
Yep.
When Quickley comes into the game, that was something that perplexed me a little bit last night. I don't know if people picked up on it. but Julius Randle came out of the game 5 minutes into the first quarter. And I said, this is interesting. Obi came out and he played. I just got to check this. Yeah, Julius Randle played 5 minutes and 43 seconds of the first quarter. That's it. And then Obi came out, played the last 6:20 or so, hit a shot. And I mean, he wasn't awful. But the thing is, it's like, why is Randle coming out so early?
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
was one of the things that made me say,
Yeah. The
in the
ankle.
first quarter last night. It was a different kind of game. Mitchell Robinson was doing his thing underneath early. Like I said, Cleveland didn't want any part of him. And I think that's a big reason why they had such a great night from the three. After
Yeah.
they hit a few, and they
Yeah.
discovered, well, we ain't got to go in there. Cleveland was 4 for 9 from three in the first quarter last night.
It was just a lot of forcing too. I think if the players move, they cut well, and we move the ball, I think we'll look really, really nice at MSG. Player movement, ball movement, just get the Cleveland defense scrambling. Remember, they've got Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell guarding on the perimeter. Move the ball around, move the trees around. And I think that's going to make things difficult for them. The more we try to go isolation and barrage into their uh, wall, it's going to play into their hands. And I think, like you said, move the ball around. Jalen Brunson, get ready. If they're going to trap you, hot potato, get it moving. Julius Randle, take the open three if it's there, or drive and kick. And I think I'm looking at Emmanuel Quickley out of. I've got a few questions for you as the chat's heating up. But
Yeah, I'll say.
Emmanuel Quickley, out of all the dudes that are more likely to step up, I think Emmanuel Quickley at MSG is the most likely. But 007 Angelo wants your thoughts on, do you think RJ Barrett is here long term, or is it a to be continued based on this series?
We've had some interesting conversations about that in the last couple of weeks.
Mm.
RJ just signed that big contract. He's got another 4 years left, something like that. But if the Knicks want to upgrade, they got to come up with some money. They got to come up with some cap space. Now, Fournier, he's got another year. He's around 17 million. I got to look this up. But what could the Knicks do at 3? And I've been a proponent of this for a long time. Obi Toppin goes into the final year of his rookie contract next year. So you technically get him on the cheap. I'm not saying trade RJ Barrett, but I'm just thinking in the economic box of the New York Knicks. Brunson's not going anywhere. Randall's not going anywhere. Those are your two big guys. Those are your two all-star players, even though Brunson wasn't an all-star this year. He deserved to be. They aren't going anywhere. Where do you have some kind of flexibility?
Yep. The salary is big.
Where can you create some money? Where can you create some space? Where can you get the dollars to go out and fortify your roster with, say, a $30 million player?
You need money. You need money. And what time is this? This is money time.
I mean, again, this is no hate. There's people instantly, if you say something, there's no hate about RJ Barrett. I believe it was on this program early in the season when the Knicks signed him during the summer. I said, he's one of your stars now. Yeah, he's one of your guys now. Okay.
You said it. He was.
I don't dislike him. I like what he does. But in this particular series, as my good friend Stephen A. Smith said today, some people just ain't cut out for certain series. I mean, you have the all-time greats who are going to suit up, strap it on, and play against anybody. But then there's that next level of guys, and RJ is clearly right there. He does a lot of good things, but he does not match up well in this series. He does not. He plays bully ball. He likes to take advantage of the 1, the 2, the 3, and sometimes even the 4.
Yep.
He's a big dude.
We need to play fast.
Okay.
RJ.
And now you got these 2 leaning towers of Pisa in there. He ain't bullying nobody there. If he gets past the entire defense, he's got 2 huge guys ready to swat him and his shot away.
I think he's just playing out of position. Also, not making excuses for RJ. And I see a future where he's, on a winning team and effective, but this might not be the position for RJ. He needs to slim down to get faster or bulk up to play bigger. Right now, he's in the middle. He's relying on the bully game, but he's not fast enough for the wings. Can he outrun some 4s? Absolutely. If he wants to go that way, pack on some more weight and be an undersized 4, get the 3-point shot right, he can be in this league for a long, long time.
I don't know if getting the 3-point shot right is going to be part of the solution. Some people can't do it. But what we do know is he can get to the rim against anybody.
Yep.
He can just about finish against anybody. But when he's got to take on both Mobley and Allen after he beats the rest of the defense, that's a bit much.
Yep.
That's a bit much. And Jalen Brunson couldn't do it last night. Julius Randle couldn't do it last night. And that's their game. That's what they do. And that the Knicks didn't have an answer for that lack of ability to try and get, every time they went down into the paint, they were getting met. Like I said, they were -10 in second chance points last night. In game 1, the Knicks had 23 second chance points and 44 points in the paint. In game 2, the Knicks had 38 points in the paint and 13 second chance points. And what was the takeaway from game 1 if you were watching Cleveland? Our big guys didn't do nearly enough.
Got bullied.
They stepped up last night, though. They stepped up last night in a big kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, they were hungry. And I think we're going to answer back. I really do. My biggest concern with this series, long-term, Bill, is can we win both games at MSG? I know we're going to win one. Can we win both? Because that could be the series right there. Giving advantage back to Cleveland, home court. If we can't win both, we're going to have to win one more game on the road if we cannot take care and protect the Garden. And
I get the big picture, but right now, game 3 is the game you got to win. Can't even think about game 4.
Yep.
Can't even think about game 4.
You said it.
You got to win game 3. And I think the Knicks will do that. I think the Knicks will be back at home. I think, again, the crowd will be behind it, but they ain't intimidating nobody. No. I agree. I don't think they're intimidating anybody. I don't think Cleveland's going to wilt. I don't think crack. They're going to run and hide. I don't think they're going to be under the bench. Now Donovan Mitchell, maybe his shot doesn't fall, or maybe Garland's shot doesn't fall. I don't know. And that's the other thing here. Those 2 guys are interchangeable. But fortunately, the Knicks have enough depth at guard, and with a right Josh Hart, because remember, it was Josh Hart that was playing against Mitchell when it mattered most in game 1.
Yep.
Donovan Mitchell was having some problems with that size. So the Knicks are equipped to deal with both of those guards. But again, the big Knick problem in game 2 was that the Cavaliers smothered Jalen Brunson. They cut the head of the snake off. And the Knicks were just flailing. They It
It
was
was
was not good. It was
it was
not good.
100% there. Yeah, I credit them. That was a smart, the number one move they needed to make, which was, force other people to beat them. Jalen Brunson take the ball out of his hands. He knifed them in game one. Um, like Dirty Dancer says, losing also in an embarrassing manner means they get our absolute best shot in game three. There's a lot of bulletin board stuff going around with this series, Bill. Um, a lot of shenanigans and acting and influencing of the officiating, which we talked about. But Danny Green, Karis LeVert, like we talked earlier, I don't think we're going to see them, have the amazing performances they did. But
No,
Garland and Spider has to be the full attention. And if Quickley and Grimes and RJ aren't hitting shots, if you're locking up, that can make up for that. Tom Thibodeau said all year, you can affect winning even if your shot's not fallen and your head can't drop. Even if you're 0-4, you need that effort. And I think the MSG crowd will will them, like you said, to game three. Also, hopefully Julius can get into some nice rhythm and be hitting the shot. Um, how likely do you think he does tinker with the rotation in game three?
I don't think we can answer that until we determine those two things that I talked about earlier. And what the heck?
Mm,
Maybe RJ comes out and hits a couple of threes to start the game.
mm,
Again, if that's going on, Cleveland's got to adjust to that, and they got to adjust to it on the fly because all of a sudden now you don't have to worry about Brunson ramming it down your throat, getting in the paint down in Brunsonville, and making your life miserable. Now you got to start paying attention to those other guys because
facts.
they're knocking down threes early. If you do that, that opens up the rest of the game. That opens up the
100%.
rest of the game. Knicks have been
Yeah.
consistent. They shot 29 threes in both game one and two. And I got a
Yeah.
feeling they're going to wind up pretty much around the 25-30 mark in game three, but they
Mm.
have to make them early.
You said it. Got to get out early and make them adjust, close out. I think our defense, we're going to see the best defense the Knicks have to offer. Can we hit enough shots? Um, like you said. And I think the big men, what are you seeing from Mitch? Do you think they ignored Mitch and they didn't find him quick enough when Cavs were moving around?
That's not how their offense works. In game one, Mitchell Robinson
Mm,
only had 5 shots. He only had 5 shots, and he played 26 minutes.
mm,
The center that gets involved in the offense because he is such an excellent passer out of the post, high and low, is Isaiah Hartenstein.
yep.
He's the
He's
center. He also has a nice little push shot that he'll get inside of 15 feet and he'll just pop something up there. He's a gritty enough rebounder. And he's not a gifted offensive player. His gift is his ability to pass.
yep.
He can make things happen by passing the basketball. That's where his real value comes in on offense. Mitch doesn't have that. Mitch is a rim protector. Mitch is a rebound getter, which creates more possessions for you. And with Steven Adams sidelined for the rest of the year with Memphis, Mitch is far and away the leading offensive rebounder in the
In the
NBA.
league. Yeah.
That's his
He,
game. The Knicks aren't looking for him on offense. He'll get some garbage he'll clean up every now and then. One of the little guys will find him underneath,
mm,
waiting, and he'll slam it home that way. But drawing up a play for Mitch, that's not going to happen. His
yeah,
role on offense is limited. It's limited to get the ball, and he is great at doing that.
I agree. Yeah. I think if I'm Tom Thibodeau, I'm going out the same rotation, like the chat says here. Changing a rotation 1-1 could be seen as a panic move, but where the Knicks could get an edge, like you said, you never know early in the game. We hit a few shots, or we get one of their bigs in foul trouble. right? It changes the whole game. If Jarrett Allen or Mobley pick up 2 early fouls in MSG, if they are tight on the whistle,
Different game.
then it's hell for leather with Jalen Brunson getting into the paint.
You know, that's going to change things up because Robin Lopez ain't coming out and giving you no. I mean, I was really. He looked like a fat version of the Geico caveman. Come on, Rolo. What are you doing,
He
man?
doesn't move as fast as his Nick days.
He's carrying all that weight. He's huge.
I thought they'd dust him off for the rebounding, but they adjusted. But yeah, like I said, we got to also continue to attack. We can't just fall into jump shooting mode, because if we can get one of them in foul trouble, and Julius Randle is that body type. If Jalen Brunson gets trapped, I don't see him being able to get in the paint and get them into foul trouble. But Julius is that key. If we have a scorching game from Julius, I think it goes a long way.
CT, I'm telling you, his stats in the 2 games are almost identical. I mean, really. Across the stat line, here's his game 2 stat line. A 17-point Knicks loss. You ready? Julius Randle played 33 minutes. He was 8 for 20 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3. He had 3 free throws. He made all 3. 8 rebounds, 4 offense, 4 defense, 1 assist, 2 personals, a steal, 6 turnovers, played to a -7 and finished with 22 points. In game 1, where we didn't know if Julius was going to play, he played 33 minutes, was 7 of 20 from the field, 3 of 10 from 3. He was 3 of 7 in game 2, 3 of 10 in game 2. In game 1, rather. Had 2 for 4 from the free throw line, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 fouls, 2 steals, 5 turnovers. Played to a -8. He was -7 in game 2, -8 in game 1. He had 19 points in game 1, 22 points in game 2. He was the same guy. Julius is great. Here's the thing, and I don't know when teams are going to figure this out. And again, that's part of why I was so perplexed when Thibodeau took him out after just 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes of the first quarter.
Management, I think.
The Knicks formula for winning is a fast start by Julius Randle.
Yep.
Count the games, every game. 12 points, 15 points, 17 points on good nights, 20 points on great nights. That's his first quarter.
Yep.
That's what he does. It's part of their winning formula. He gives them that early cushion, knockdown shooter from the elbow on 3. And then the Knicks grind it out, and Brunson comes in the 4th quarter and takes over and goes to Brunsonville and has a good time. Knicks win. Julius is the same player every night. Although I always tell people, watch out for that 3-minute mark. When 3 minutes left in the game, bonehead Julius shows up.
Which, yeah, you made a great point too. Turnovers in this game too, Bill. Absolutely some brain fade turnovers, throwing the ball back in bounds under the bucket, off rhythm. But that's going to happen on the road. You know, Cleveland forced a lot of turnovers.
Yeah. The Knicks gave up 32 points and 18 turnovers in game 2. They had 16 turnovers in game 1. They only gave up 10 points.
So, yeah, we've talked a lot about game 3. What's your overall thoughts on the 2 at MSG? And I know you can't give us predictions, but
I can't get to 2. First I got to see 1. Yeah, that's the postseason is. That's what the postseason is. Punch, counter punch, adjust. Punch, counter punch, adjust. Cleveland might come out trying to throw haymakers in game 3. And if they ain't connecting, all of a sudden now, the Knicks are doing the little things and they get up big. But by the same token, Cleveland can come out, start hitting some haymakers. Oh, heaven forbid that both Mitchell and Garland get hot. So
So,
you gotta see how it plays out, man. All these predictions mean nothing.
man,
So, like you said, Cleveland gets a big in foul trouble. Instead, Jalen Brunson gets to the basket twice early in the game, and both times Jared Allen fouls him. Different game now.
yep.
Cleveland's got to change what they do. So I can't get into they're going to do this. I don't know.
That's a nice fancy way of game by game.
Yeah.
Game by game.
It's
really.
literally play
Quarter by
play.
quarter.
I mean,
Play by play.
I'm watching the Phoenix game last night. The LA Clippers go up double digits in the first half, and then at halftime, the game is tied at 59.
Yeah. Can't fall asleep. That's a
No.
deal.
Stuff happens. It changes. Yeah. It turns on a dime. On a dime.
One thing is, I do think whoever wants this series the most, whoever's the most hungry, will win it, because there's a way forward to win it for both teams. Obviously, yes, execution, but can we not get too satisfied with just a win and then we give the next game up? Then we win one, we give the next game up. You gotta be hungry. You gotta have that killer instinct to win both of these two at MSG, and it can be done. There's talent.
I'll say this. I think the Knicks have a better roster than the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, if we're in the park choosing up sides and the guys are lined up against the fence, okay, yeah, I can see Mitchell going first. I don't know. You might even take Darius Garland second. But then after that, I guarantee the next 5 guys are going to be Knicks. The next 5 players picked would be Knicks. If you look at these rosters, the Knicks, I think, have 7 players and the Cavaliers have 4.
That's why I said the longer the series goes, it's more in our favor, I believe, as Quickley might find a groove, Grimes might find a shot, RJ might find a shot, more chances for them to get comfortable and open up. And Cleveland showed us some cards. Do they have any more cards to go to? Can they? They've already dusted off Danny Green in Game 2. They've already played Karis LeVert 39 minutes. What's going to happen if he shoots 0-4?
Again, Karis LeVert ain't having. He's not. He might not total 24 points in 2 games at the Garden. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's that old NBA formula. Guys that have great games at home, reserves, bench guys that have great games at home, they ain't doing that on the road. It's not happening. Occasionally, yes. But in the case of Karis LeVert, everybody tells you don't know what to expect from him. He's up, he's down, he's in, he's out. Gifted player. Has length. But he was just a consistent pain in the behind getting that 24 points in Game 2. He did not have a big over-the-top quarter. He did not. He didn't.
Yeah. Plus, I think they can attack him.
Yes.
Tibbs will look at film and say, okay, let's pick and roll. Let's Julius switch. They've got 2 days to plan these mismatches, and I don't think Karis LeVert. I don't think he's soft, but he's not tough either.
He's not a difference maker. That's why he's a bench player.
Facts.
That's why he's a bench player. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He would eat our lunch on any given day.
And some.
Hey.
But
Jimmer Fredette would make both of us look like jerks on any given day. And where's he playing now?
But if he's out playing Emmanuel Quickley, that doesn't do us any good. One of our dudes has to play better than him.
Yes.
He could play wretched, but if our guys play even worse,
it's a wash.
That's enough.
Our guy has to be a difference maker. And playing at home It says that the Knicks
Mm.
have more difference makers than Cleveland does at home.
Yep.
You
Whoever
know,
can take advantage of at home.
people people like to get caught up in the Knick bench and how good they are. Do you know that the Knick bench was 25th in scoring in the NBA this year?
No, did not know that.
25th in scoring. That's a
Mm.
great bench. Not too sure about that.
Mm. They didn't play a lot of minutes though, as many minutes as some other teams, but
They made it.
consistency.
They could make a difference game in, game out, and there were some games where
Yeah.
they did make a big difference.
Yeah.
But the numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. 24 benches in the NBA scored better than the one in New York. 24.
That's interesting. Yeah, we just need the consistency that they showed, which was their strength. Their strength was we knew what we were getting when Emmanuel Quickley hit the hardwood. We knew what Isaiah, what Obi would give us. It's time for them to step up now. They've had 2 bad games. The knives will be out after game 3 if they don't step up, and I think we will see changes after game 3 if it obviously goes another direction. But I like what you said. Let's stay in the moment, like the Knicks need to, and look at game 3 in an isolation. Then look at game 4, and then we go from there, man. We make the adjustments. And Bill, it's been an awesome show having you on to talk this series, and it's tight, it's physical. It reminds me of the '90s. Um, what are your?
Somebody has said that. Somebody is yeah.
Yep,
My
yep.
secret texting friend. That was one of the texts. It's
Are
like
they?
90s Knicks. You know.
Are their
So
initials SAS?
I cannot I cannot divulge,
Nah.
who my people are. I can't do
Mm,
that. Edward Walker says hi, Bill. Hi, Edward Walker. How you doing, bro?
mm,
It's all good. I like what Dirty Dancer said. Karras is basically their RJ, and he happened to have a good game for once. He was playing at home. Now the Knicks are coming home. Let's see if RJ can find that good game. Let's see if Quickley can get back
mm.
to that good game. Let's see if Grimes can get back to that good game. Let's see if Josh Hart, after a couple of days off, his ankle feels better. Let's see if Randall, he says he's fine. He says it's okay. He's not hurt. Let's see if he's going to step up his game. Or better yet, Julius, give me the same game. I'll take the same game because
Mm.
if he steps up, the Knicks win.
One thing I know is Jalen Brunson, has got good IQ.
Oh yeah.
He's got a few days to watch this film as the coaching do. They're going to be more prepared for this trap or what. Game like you said, game 2 was a surprise. It was their counterpunch.
Jalen Brunson is one of the most cerebral players
Mm,
in this game.
a winner.
You saw that college player of the year, two-time champion at Villanova. Now he's got Josh Hart as wingman, and they pump each other up big time. And let's give a shout out to Obi Toppin, who has become one of their most reliable shooters from distance.
Yeah, he's
Somebody
practiced.
earlier in the comments talking about hate for Obi. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm an Obi Toppin guy. And whereas this time last year, oh no, it's an Obi says, no, man, now you want him shooting that thing from distance. He shoots it well.
Yeah,
What's to say
MSG.
that he doesn't step up with a double-digit game in game 3? I mean, it's there for the Knicks. It's there for them to take. I still think they win this
Mm.
series. I don't know how many games it's going to take. I'm not that smart,
We can't
but
predict the future.
it starts with game 3. Win game 3. Win game 3.
Yeah. On that note, we will win game 3, and we'll talk to you about it. We'll talk to you more moving ahead. Bill, amazing, and the chat appreciate you, and I always appreciate you coming through. Always got the streets buzzing, and I'm having fun. This is
I was a little late to the buzz tonight, but we. I'm glad we got it done. It was just one key, boom, one key stroke, made it
Yeah,
all happen. So
we made it work, and it's here. We're here, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
I'm
Go
gonna be
Knicks.
watching basketball. It's Memphis winning game two, 86-75, and then there's a game after this. So you know
Yep.
what I'm gonna be doing for the rest of the evening. I'm not in the baseball season yet, so
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
NBA
It's
playoff
money
time.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's go time,
absolutely.
man. Yeah.
And
Text your friend and say we said hi.
I will do.
It's money time. All right. Thanks,
Always a
Bill.
pleasure, CT.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Peace. I'm going to
Take care
continue
now.
rocking, but talk to you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only New York sports legend and an even better person, Bill Daughtry, kind enough to come through. The chat showed out. Knicks fans, this is our time and the most exciting time of the year, right? It's tight, it's tense, but we're all here to talk to each other about it, right? And I love the comments tonight, the opinions after 2 games. It's not really time to overreact yet, but what have the Knicks got? You know, they answered the call. The Cleveland Cavaliers. They did finish above the New York Knicks. You know, the Tom Thibodeau, if he's dubbed a regular season coach, the Knicks weren't able to finish above the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, the odds makers have them the most likely team to win. But I think both sides are very even, and it's going to be back and forth. And I said to EJ before this series even began that each game would look different. We'll see a different guy bob up. We'll see a different look, a different wrinkle in the game. And this could be coach v coach at the end of the day. The players go out there and try to do their best. But which adjustments are going to be made that are going to win you this series? Right. Salute to the whole chat, everyone out here. Yeah, Sanger says, bless up. Yeah, great show. Bill is a legend. Thanks for the entertainment. Appreciate you for joining us and providing us entertainment also. It goes both ways. Knicks Nation's here. And it's been a long time since the Knicks have won a playoff series. We know how far we have to go back. It was 2013, right? And the first time the Knicks won a game one on the road was 1999. That's right. It did not even begin with a 2. It was 1999 when I was in high school still, and excited about this team. Allen Houston hit that game winner in Miami. Larry Johnson's 4-point play. It was an unlikely run at that time, and the Knicks are kind of making an unlikely run this season. It reminds me a lot of that time. It just something feels like that in the air. I can't wait for these 2 games at MSG. There's going to be a lot of spotlight, a lot of buzz. Celebrity Row is going to be there. Fat Joe, Ben Stiller, you already know everyone's going to be there. All the diehards on Celebrity Row. Tickets are the hottest ticket in town right now. I think the average price you can get, or the cheapest price might be like $500 going up by the day. $2 super chat, 007 Angelo. Salute, let's go. Yeah, appreciate you, love you also. And yeah, I know you're hyped and can't wait for this playoff series to continue in game 3 at MSG. This is really what we did the dirty work for, so to speak. We won game 1. We have home court advantage now, and it's in our court. Fam, how are you guys feeling? Are you leaning more towards the Knicks winning this series now? Are you taking Bill's approach? Are you taking it more game at a time? Let's check in on something that was said by Ryan Windhorst now on the Cleveland segment on ESPN Cleveland. What he's hearing is he said, I know that in New York, they still think they're in very good shape, as we should. And that when RJ gets home, he'll hit some shots. Well, let's hope. Exactly what I thought this series would be. It's going to go 6 or 7 with bloodshed by both teams along the way, right? I don't think that's going to be any different to what we've seen so far. I think it's going to get even more intense as the games continue, right? I expect us to win game 3. I think it's game 4 that's going to be the most tricky. Again, another adjustment. Uh, but one thing where we're sitting, right, the state of this series for me is we've seen more guys from Cleveland step up. You know, Karis LeVert, Danny Green stepped up in game 2. Darius Garland stepped the hell up. But we've got more guys on the Knicks that we're waiting to step up. And there's more guys that we can hope to contribute in this series, more than Cleveland can. And as I made the point to Bill, 39 minutes for Karis LeVert. They chopped the cord on Dean Wade and Isaac Okoro's minutes and Ricky Rubio. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean he can go back to them? I don't know. That'd be a tough call. Whereas the New York Knicks haven't made their chess move yet, so to speak. I think Cleveland adjusted really well. They did what won them game 2. They made that chess move. I think the Knicks have more chess moves that they can make. Now, doesn't mean it's going to be the right move. It doesn't mean it's going to work. But just in terms of moves to make, tricks up their sleeve, I think the Knicks have more that they can do in the arsenal. Now, I agree with Dirty Dancer in terms of game 3. I'm not ready to switch things up drastically yet. But what I want to see from Tom Thibodeau is in-game adjustment if things aren't going well. If things are not going well, you need to make that adjustment in-game. Now, if Darius Garland is shooting crazy and Spider Mitchell's shooting crazy, the first move I will want to see is Deuce McBride. At the very least, what Deuce McBride is going to give you. We know he can't really hit the shot at times, but to be honest, what's different? Grimes hasn't been able to hit a shot. Quickley can't hit a shot. And RJ can't hit a shot. But Deuce McBride is at least going to help slow down those dudes. So you guys tell me, what do you guys think about Deuce McBride, really? I think it's full circle on the season because Deuce McBride came in mid-season and helped us change things around. We shortened the rotation. We got tough. We got gritty. And we got out on the break. We got stops. And I think the crowd is going to play into that. It's going to get hype. Deuce McBride getting steals. And I think they're going to allow us to be a little bit more physical. If you believe EJ and a lot of people's, sentiments, conspiracies on this series, is that the NBA and the fraternity want this series extended. They want to see this thing go 6 or 7, as we want to win this one ASAP, but we also want to see good ball. Brunson says Knicks got this. Yep, starts on Friday. I cannot wait, man. Friday night Knicks. I'm not ready for this season to be done anytime soon. I think we're ready for a long run. And also to Bill's point, the 2 days off is just amazing. We're fortunate in a physical playoff series to be having 2 days rest between games because that's not how it used to be. And I think that's going to be huge for Hart and for us and our depth, for Julius, for all of that. Earl, salute. What's good? We need a bona fide ball handler. Yeah. I think what's key is Brunson making snappy decisions, if he is trapped, and I think they will adjust. There's a beautiful thing with film, and it's all there for everybody to watch what worked in Cleveland, and I think it's going to be more difficult to trap Brunson at MSG. Dirty says, I think we win game 2 if Hart was right. He had been our safety blanket, but was borderline bad last game. I don't know if we would have won, but we definitely would have been in that game and in a better situation. But I agree. I also don't think a lot of people are making the point that we got blown out in game 2 and we barely won game 1. That Cleveland has looked the better team. On the surface, you could say that, but I think each playoff game is different. I think a win is a win. Every game is going to be different. I think the next 2 games might be within 2 points. Might be a 1-point game. I just think it's basically the roll of a dice. I think right now, but we need to be hungry. The underdog mentality, like Nice says, we are the ones that have to prove something as the 5th seed. And we weren't selected to win this series. 4 out of 13 panelists, I think, selected the New York Knicks. We changed the narrative. We won game 1. We took our foot off the gas, but let's see, home court's been our kryptonite throughout the season. We've had some amazing wins there, but as the whole, we haven't been as consistent at MSG. So to me, this would make this season a huge success if we can win both games at MSG and go up 3-1 and then ultimately win the series. I think that would silence a lot of doubters on Julius, Brunson, RJ. I think for us to win the next 2 would be a huge accomplishment for the New York Knicks, because no doubt they're going to be hungry. You already got Spider Mitchell talking about, be ready, guys, be ready, MSG. I know what that is going to be like. It's going to be crazy and all of that. We're hearing some awards being announced also. Jalen Brunson is a finalist for the MIP. And we have Emmanuel Quickley, who hasn't shown up recently, but he's still in the hunt for the 6th man, which is going to be announced tomorrow. But I do think it does look like Brogdon is going to get that accolade, unfortunately. So what are you guys' thoughts on that? Keep the buzz coming. Edward, agrees with the Deuce situation. Yep, he helps to intensify our defense, our urgency as well, I would say, fam. Getting around the picks, picking up guys full court. That's something I want to give Cleveland credit. If you saw them, man, they were picking up Brunson full court to the point where sometimes we could not even get the ball in bounds. That was embarrassing. Everyone was just sloppy. And I thought that they expected game 2 to go the same way as game 1, that they would not, turn up the noise, but they did. The MSG is going to show out, and we're going to turn up the noise. Earl says ISO ball also is not going to win us many games, 100%. It's a series, and different dudes are going to go off on different nights, but we need the ball moving. And I mentioned this to Bill, but I thought Mitchell Robinson was open quite a few times. What's going to happen when Brunson gets trapped by the trees? Mitch is down there with his arms up, right? Hit the big man, and then if they collapse on him, he has an open shooter to throw the ball away. He's the tallest player on the court for a reason, right? If you throw the ball up over the trap, Mitchell Robinson is most likely going to be the one to catch it. So could that be the adjustment we see? Let's look out for that. And also to Bill's point was that Isaiah Hartenstein is key as well, because when he got the ball, he can make plays. He can pass nicely. He can get it moving, which is what we need. We need ball movement. We need to keep it flowing. And I saw what Dirty mentioned earlier with the Jarrett Allen foul. Best believe that's not forgotten, fam. I think we're going to bring that intensity. And I think, we do need to be, not necessarily dirty, but we need to be very, very physical. Very, very physical. Force the refs to make the calls. I mean, Jarrett Allen did what he did, and he forced the ref to call the flagrant. But, no layup line at MSG, right? We want to keep those dudes out of the paint and just keep them shooting bricks so we can gobble up those rebounds. And what's going to scare them from driving is just being physical. I know we talked about Evan Fournier, right? He's not the most guy that I really want to see in this series, but I can see where his skill set can help. But the second guy that's not in the rotation after Deuce that I would like to see in this series is Jericho Sims. I think Jericho Sims is offering something that's valuable, which is switchable on defense. He can normally stay in front of the guards. He's got a big leap. He can gobble in rebounds. And I think he can combat their trees with physicality. I think Jericho Sims is huge. He can box out Evan Mobley and make him fold like a cheap 10. And I think we need physicality. if Mitch and Hartenstein aren't necessarily bringing it or dominating the rebounds, I want to see Jericho Sims get some minutes after, let's say, Deuce McBride. Because remember, we don't even need to shoot an amazing percentage. We keep talking about the shooting. But if we get back to what we did in game 1, which is gobble up the rebounds, nothing's changed. That is still the New York Knicks' strength. It's just Cleveland rebounded better and they hit shots also in the second quarter. But if the New York Knicks back at home, MSG, can dominate the rebounds, I think we're sitting nice. We're sitting pretty for game 3 and game 4. Dirty's all for being dirty. Make them bleed. You know, if I'm a betting man, I'm going to say there is going to be blood. There is going to be blood in this situation. I think we have not seen the chippiest yet version of Julius Randle yet in the playoffs, man. He's ready to explode. And it could go either way, man. It could be explosion on the court with the ball hitting the net, or it could be an explosion of some other kind. But one thing we need to win this series is we need him to be the best version of Julius. We need him to bring that edge. Remember, I talk about 1999 when we overcame the Miami Heat. You know, we needed the edge. And, you know, Cleveland, you could say maybe the more finesse team in this throughout the season this year. You know, the Garland, the Spider, the finesse, the guard play. The New York Knicks edge is our edge. We've got to be physical. We've got to be on the boards. We've got to block out. Hip check. I'm all for that, man. Take charges. Throw a few stray elbows as well. Yep. Yeah. Hip check a guy up 40 on a dunk and it's fighting time, right? Best believe that, man. Best believe that, man. I think if we weren't on the road and it wasn't end of the game, we might see that. But 100% Edward, MSG will be absolutely rocking, right? To the likes of we haven't seen in over a decade, 2 decades. I think this is going to be on another level. The streets will be buzzing. And, you know, 2 years ago was great, but the crowd was slightly limited, 16,000, I think. But the fact is this series has a bit more edge. It has chippiness. It has physicality. It has more storylines with Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and them taking photos in the Cleveland locker room, which is something they've supposedly done all year. But you know, it was a nice bulletin board material. I think all they did was split, you know, the 2 games, and I think the Knicks have the edge. You know, we have home court. We have more guards that have not stepped up yet, and they're going to step up at MSG. Best believe that. Now, I can't guarantee all 3 will step up, but I'll take 1 or 2 out of Barrett, Quickley, or Grimes. If 1 or 2 of them have the best game of their series so far, I think we're looking good. I trust Brunson. I think we're going to see a good version of Julius at MSG with the crowd. Can you imagine? Julius is going to be getting that crowd intensified, right? The moment they pick up a cheap foul or they throw up an air ball, Spider Mitchell gets picked on the floor, and I think that crowd's going to be crazy. I hope they do influence the officiating also, you know, because that's what you build home court for. You know, we won game 1 and we won home court now, so it's time to utilize that to the full ability. Yeah, that hit on Allen, on Julius, on Jalen was also dirty. The refs looked the other way. You saw Bickerstaff dap up Allen as well. After that Allen hit in garbage time, man, it's time to hit back. Nice says Randle is so good at barking back at his staff and teammate. Time for Randle to bark, not at his teammate, but at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, definitely he will. Honestly, every Knick player, I think, and us would have signed up for this. I think like on the screen, Brian Windhorst says to the Cleveland ESPN, uh, uh, he says, I know that in New York, they still think they're in very good shape. 100% we're in good shape, man. We have the depth. And I think if this goes 6 or 7, as the series goes along, our depth is going to be more key. Beat up on Karis LeVert, beat up on Danny Green's old body, and watch him regress as the series goes along. If you're physical with Karis LeVert and you're physical with Danny Green, like I said earlier, I don't know if they're willing to be able to adjust again or able to go back to Ricky Rubio, Dean Wade. Is Darius Garland going to shoot the way he shot last game either? There could be, ups and downs for the rest of this thing, but it's time for our players, role players, to step up, man. I think that's our advantage right now. And then, like I told you about my adjustments, I want to see Deuce McBride, Jericho Sims for physicality if we need. I'm all for grinding this thing out to a 92-88 victory at MSG. Just make it a bloody warfare where it's grinded out. Beat them up on the boards as well, and foul the hell out of them if we need, right? Because like I said, Cleveland is a finesse team, right? Evan Mobley, he's not a tough big man. Jarrett Allen's basically the only enforcer they've got, I think. And that's where Juju got to step up. Mitch, Hartenstein, Sims, if we need. Hell, even Barrett, if he's not hitting shots, Barrett just needs to be a bully and run into a few guys, Brunson says, I hope Randle channels the energy for good and feeds off of it this series. Yet he did not channel that energy well in the Hawk series. Yeah, great point, man. I think he will in this series, like I said, at MSG. I think Julius is going to get that crowd really fired up. But like many have said, Julius getting off to a good start in Game 3 is going to be excellent for the vibes. The vibes will be back to immaculate if Julius Randle's swishing. And he's going to get plenty of looks because I think they will throw the trap at Jalen Brunson from time to time and test out our ability to move the ball, test out our will to get that ball moving. And we do need to get that ball moving. Brunson cannot delay if he's getting trapped. Edward says this is a must-win for the Knicks. I think Game 3 is important, but even if we go down, I think Game 4 is the must-win. But I see your point about how important Game 3 is, 100%. It is. It's critical. Salute, Francisco. Welcome in. Hope you have a good day. Everyone's buzzing right now. Even though we lost last night, it was ugly. But this is a 7-game series, and we're here. Yeah, where's X-Man and Oak when you need him? Look, this is that new breed, new generation. It's time for a dude to make a name for himself. That's what the playoffs is all about, We could be looking back on this in years to come, and we say like, man, this is when X player arrived. This is when Quentin Grimes arrived as a New York Knick, and he won us Game 4, won us Game 5. This is when Jericho Sims became a New York Knick, came in, stepped up, pulled in 12 rebounds, 3 blocks, helped us win. This is when RJ Barrett burst out of the slump and won us Game 3, Game 4. Whatever happens, man, we'll be talking about this but we already know how long, man. New York Knicks have a long memory. Yeah. Underdog, pit bull. We need to be that. We need to be the hunters in this. We're not in a good place until we don't make it out the first round. We have proven nothing. Yeah. The we suck mentality, you think otherwise, prove it on the court. Yeah. We 100% nice. We've got to prove that on the court. Right. This is a winnable series. And I'll be frustrated if the Knicks don't win this one. But we have a great chance now. This isn't like 2 years ago. this is the next level up. It's more difficult, and we're in the series, 1-1, and we're facing our demons, right? A team trying to be physical on us, a team with shot makers, a young coach, and we might just have to, face our biggest demons at home and win these two, and then we don't need to win one more in Cleveland. If we split one of the next two, we have to win one more in Cleveland again, and that's going to be tough. We need guys to step up on the road. We need RJ Barrett, Quickley, and Grimes to turn up. Otherwise, like 92 points last night, 90 points was crazy. I never thought I would see that. Yeah, so what was it? Yeah, last night was 90 to 107, right? I know the second quarter was the ugly one, but, if you lose the game, you lose. I like what Dirty said also, is that it ensures that you come out in game 3 with your best punch. You're fired up, you're ready for game 3, feed off the energy of the crowd and get back up, because then the ball is back in Cleveland's court and we can go back into game 4 feeling more comfortable as well. But yeah, last night really did surprise me, if I'm being honest. I did not expect our offense to be that futile. 100% can't wait, man. I'll be buzzing. It's game time, baby. I think we'll be fine. One thing we have that we have not had before is a point guard like Brunson. I'm not afraid of these Cavs. I like our chances, Bonson. You said it. There's no time to be afraid or shy in this moment, because the New York Knicks are at home now, like home cooking, right? This is ideal for any role player on the New York Knicks. Even if you're Deuce McBride, Jericho, not in the rotation, you got to feel good coming back to MSG 1-1, and it's time for us to win these two, right, and make Cleveland force the issue. Dirty says, I think Brunson struggled shooting because he was expending so much energy breaking the press. RJ and Grimes have to help. Yeah, they have to come out. But I think, to your point, Josh Hart is the most pivotal to that. He's the most assured ball handler outside of Brunson, that I like him pushing the pace. I like him coming to Brunson to get the ball if Brunson's trapped. RJ and Grimes, I still don't trust them handling the ball at this point. But like you said earlier, I think Josh Hart not being his usual self played a huge part. Let's hope 2 more days of rest and he can be feeling really good. I think we all know from the get-go, if we see an amazing Josh Hart, that he was hampered in game 2. I think as much as he says, I was okay, I came out, no excuses, I think he really was, hampered by that injury, man. Yeah. Yeah, we won't be fine if we take the approach that we got a chance Cleveland is going to punch us in the mouth. Knicks has to play like it's game 4 and Cleveland won. Yep, 100% desperate. Yep. Yep, we need to play with urgency. And with Hart, you just don't think he was healthy enough to do it. Or you just don't think he is currently healthy enough to continue to give us what he did, man. I salute these guys, they're warriors, but is this maybe Tom Thibodeau's regular season approach coming home to hurt? But I think we had enough break going into this series. We had 5 days off. I think it's just an unfortunate injury at the wrong times. But, fortunate we had Julius in game 1. Otherwise, we'd be down 0-2 if Julius didn't play in game 1. But, he fought through the pain, and so did Hart. Parrish, salute. I need Quickley to start over RJ. He needs minutes to get into that rhythm. Yeah, I would like that switch up. Maybe game 4 is most likely, but I won't be shocked if he tries to get IQ going. Maybe you can bring IQ on earlier. That's another option. You play RJ 4 or 5 minutes, then you bring Quickley in straight away and allow him to play next to Brunson for another 4 minutes. Let's see what Tom Thibodeau got up his sleeve, man. I want to hear it from you guys. Put your thinking caps on, and what do you think is most likely we see at the beginning of Game 3? Do you think we see any main adjustment, major rotation move? Or do you think he stays the same and then we see something as the game develops, or Game 4? But I think the underdog mentality is still good for the New York Knicks. We need that. We need to keep fighting. We need to have that sense of urgency that we haven't won this series yet and that we're fighting to win this one, against a team that's full of confidence. This win gave Cleveland a lot of confidence, but I think we'll make plenty of adjustments. I really do. I think there's a lot of film to watch. We'll be more prepared for Karis LeVert. We'll be more prepared for Jalen Brunson being trapped, for Darius Garland getting open looks. And I think it comes down to how can Cleveland cope in Game 3 with our adjustments, And of course, if our role players step up at MSG and hit shots, then it's going to be tougher for Cleveland. I think Old Head says I would rather see Hart start over RJ, but Tibbs will open the same and make in-game adjustments. Hopefully, if Deuce can get run. Yeah, I like that, Old Head. I think it's tough to take RJ out immediately, but if I'm the guy making the decisions, I've got to see how Hart is feeling first, and then you decide. But look, I've got to have a short lease with RJ, man. It's money time, and if you're stinking it up, his minutes got to dip. He cannot continue just to shoot brick after brick as well. We need offense. We need help. Nice as I want to see iHeart and Mitch at the same time. Throw Sims for the bench. Those Cleveland starters look bigger than us. Yeah, I like some Jericho Sims thrown in there as well. 100%. Yeah. Kid Funkadelic, salute. We have to anticipate game plan for the double team. Yep. I think we will. I think we're going to expect that. Otherwise, there's also the full court picking up of Brunson that we have to be ready for. There's no reason we should be turning the ball over inbounds a few times because nobody would come up to Brunson to help him inbound the ball. We have to put shooters closer to Brunson rather than have to sit in the corners as well. Yet come to the ball. You said it. Look, we hope Brunson's still healthy, but he's going to be a bit worn down as the series goes along. We need to help him out a lot. I think he's tough as nails, and Brunson going to give us his best. And he's a very smart IQ player. I think he can figure things out, but we have to do better at reading and reacting. I mentioned something earlier, which is Mitchell Robinson. If they want to trap, somebody is open. Someone is open. If they trap Brunson, get the ball in that player's hands. And if it's Mitchell Robinson or it's Barrett, you got to punish them. Yeah, if someone got to replace Deuce, it's RJ. If someone's replacing RJ, it should be Deuce, sorry. Hart is okay and has the bench on lock. Leave Hart on the bench. I think Hart's going to close, which is big, either way. He helped us win game 1. Right, he's a huge factor in this series, but I'm looking at one of Barrett, Quickley, and Grimes. I think it's going to come down to them, fam, for the rest of the series. Right, if one or two of them can step up, we have a great chance to win this series. If neither of those three step up, I think we're going to go home in 6. I just think there's only so much Randle and Brunson can give us on offense. We need someone to step up. Scoring 90 points is going to be tough. Maybe Obi Toppin has one of those outbursts and, hits 4 threes at MSG, gives us 15 points, helps us off the bench. That's going to be huge for Obi. We all know what Obi brings, man. He brings easy buckets in the half court. We can get bogged down. At MSG, we should be playing faster. We should be getting up on Cleveland and trying to make this thing more faster. And I think the verticality, the rim threat that Obi provides, as well as stretching the floor, is going to be huge. That's a big factor. And for all the criticism Barrett, Quickley, and Grimes have got, I think we could salute Obi, for looking ready. He's looked ready in this series. He hasn't looked fantastic, but he's looked ready at least. Had a nice move, crossed the dudes up, got to the cup, laid it up. Obi Toppin unleashed at MSG. That could be another key factor that we go to. And goes back to my earlier point. I just think the Knicks have too many chess moves we can make. We have too many dudes we can turn to make adjustments. We just have to hope that they turn up. They have to play well at home. There's no doubts about it, right? So we'll get ready to wrap this thing up, man, as we talk to Bill DAUGHTRY. And the chat's been buzzing all night. Right, the New York Knicks are in this series 1-1. It's time to take care of the Garden, the crowd, the defense chant. Throwback to 1999, where our toughness, our grittiness takes us to the victory, right? Let's get physical. Let's make them known that they're in for a battle right now, right? All they did was split their games in Cleveland. Big, so what? Big deal. Now's our opportunity to open this series up. And it starts on Friday night, MSG, the home crowd, Celebrity Row, the diehards. This is our time. Role players, step the hell up. Let's go Knicks. Salute to the whole chat. We buzzing right now, smashing that like button. And going to be covering this series, man, and then some. We've got another guest lined up on our Monday after Game 4. We've got another guest we'll be talking to after Game 4 on Monday night. But yeah, Friday, Sunday, let's take care of business. Right, plenty to talk about. Salute. Defend the house. Yep. Kid Funkadelic, 100%. Nice. Yep, someone got to close the 3-point area. Yep. Move the rock. That's key. Defend the colors, Francisco. Mega salute. Let's go, man. How you guys feeling? I'm feeling confident. Right. Let Cleveland start to feel more comfortable. That's where it's at. Right. We got adjustments. We got moves we can make. We got dudes on the bench we can call upon if other dudes aren't stepping up. And that's it, man. We here. The streets are buzzing. And this thing's going 6 or 7. I will say that, right? I don't see this thing over in 5, right? I bet my house that this is going 6 or 7. If it's going 7, it's at Cleveland. So we do need to win one more game in Cleveland if we cannot sweep Game 3 and Game 4. So we know what's at stake. The stakes are the highest they've been in 2 decades. The New York Knicks, right? This is no boys allowed. This is money time, right? Who's going to step up right now? There's going to be changes in the off season, we know already, but which player, who's it going to be? Who's going to step up, right? We know that the MSG crowd is going to turn up, and that's a critical factor in this series right now as we head back home. 2 days off, but just 1 day break between game 1 and game 2. It's going to be lit. Salute. We'll see you post game on Friday night. Let's get it. Salute.